hello there everybody, a very warm welcome to The Verdict here on Racing TV. We've got a very packed show for you, 6 races in total to show you. We've got 4 on the flat and 2 over jumps, a couple of interesting sprinters who could contest high-end handicaps next season. We've got a decent 2-year-old contest to analyse as well, a Sir Michael Stout horse who's probably a Group 1 performer in waiting, and also some very good jumping action from Down Royal. So let's crack on then and take you to Nottingham midweek, and we're going to have a look at the success of the 15-8 favourite in this 5-furlong handicap. The name is Raasell. Josie's Kid was 7-2, 7-1 Rebel at Dawn. Candorsay was 12-1, and it was Raasell from stall 7 who beat Dart Shot from 6, and Rebel at Dawn was coming from stall 2 in 3rd place. This horse, Raasell, is on an upward curve, and he is very impressive in winning this for the horse watchers and Mick Appleby. I think the first thing to say is that we've got to give credit to Mick Appleby, because this horse lost his way. He was, he wasn't showing what the horse watchers would have liked when he first went to Mick. He had a break and Mick has sorted him out, and now he has got him absolutely firing on all cylinders, and he's won his last 4, and this was hugely impressive off a mark of 81. He's miles ahead of this mark, I think. His sectionals were pretty good according to Course Tracks. 11.02 for the 4th furlong. That was really flying along. That's just when he gets to here, bang, and that's what takes him to the front, gets him clear of his rivals, and he's in no danger from here on in whatsoever, and he's won very comfortably indeed. The finishing speed percentage 103.31, so for a sprint perhaps they could have gone a little bit harder, but I think if they'd gone harder he'd have won even more easily. And also you can see here he's just got lots of daylight throughout. Here he is in those orange and black colours. He's got no cover at all. I think if he'd been able to tuck in and wait for longer and then James Doyle launch him, he'd have won it even more easily. He's absolutely chucked in, even under a penalty or even when the handicapper reassesses him. His time form speed figure here was pretty good. It was in the low 90s, but he's capable of so much more. And I think high-end sprints await this fellow next season, and he is a most exciting prospect for the horse watcher boys. I think he's a really good horse, this fella, and perhaps ultimately he could be one of the best horses they've ever had. So how can we sum up what we saw at Nottingham on Wednesday? I think we saw the best horse that was there on the day by a mile. It was an evenly run sprint, finishing speed percentage 103.31, which means he finished off the race 3.31% quicker in the final couple of furlongs than he ran the rest of the race. But he was tanking at 2 out, and he picked up in tremendous fashion, coming home in 11.02 in the penultimate furlong, and that completely killed the race, absolutely killed the race in a matter of strides, and he only had to be pushed out hands and heels by James Doyle. What about his mark? Well, he's 81. I think he's miles ahead of his marker. I think he's a 100-plus horse, I really do. High-end handicaps definitely await in next season. I think there'll be some good races for him. He's clearly a really good sprinter. Mick Appleby deserves a lot of credit for sorting him out. And this point highlights that, because he failed to beat a rival in his 2nd and 3rd starts for Mick. Long layoff, don't know what ailed him, don't know what the problem was, but whatever it was, they really got him sorted out. So this is a good bit of training from Mick Appleby. What about his pedigree? Well, he's by showcasing out of a Dubawi mare. So that tells me that I think he wants to be away from really quick summer ground. Showcasings are good with dig in the ground. Dubawis go on anything really, but I think that pedigree does suggest that away from really fast summer ground is just his bag, and his best form has come just on good ground, and this is good autumn ground where he's probably put up his best ever performance. Right, where are we going to see him? Well, we might see him at Nottingham on Wednesday. He is entered there. He didn't have a hard race last time up. He won very easily, and I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to run him again there under a penalty. Raasell, really impressive midweek at Nottingham. So from a very good sprinting performance at Nottingham, we go to Newmarket on Friday for a novice stakes, Division 1 of this particular contest. It was over 7 furlongs, and Yantani was the 2-to-1 favourite, Swashbuckler 4-to-1. It was 11-2 and Bigger the Rest, and Bigger the Rest includes Audience, who wins this race at 15-2 and does so in really impressive fashion, getting the better of Yantani and Devoted Poet. There's the winner, highlighted, blue cap in the Cheveley Park stud colours for Team Gosden. There's Yantani, and the third home is Devoted Poet from stall number 8. Send them on their way here. I thought this was a really impressive performance from the winner, and I think the second was most eye-catching in defeat. The winner was on debut here, Audience, and he's out wide at this stage, getting no cover whatsoever, just in there. Little bit keen in the early stages, but nonetheless comes home very strongly over this 7 furlongs in the style of a horse who's got lots of speed. Indeed, Audience is speedily bred. The pedigree suggests that maybe 7 furlongs or less will always be best for this horse. Look how well Audience travels towards the outside. Really a little bit keen, doing a little bit too much. He's a very fast horse, I think, and the sectionals back that up. The 5th furlong, 11.44 seconds, and the 6th furlong, 11.41. And those 2 furlongs sealed the deal for Audience. Meanwhile, out the back is the big eye catcher in the Godolphin blue, Yantani, who runs on very strongly in the closing stages and is, unlike the winner, bred to be a stayer. The winner's bred for speed, the second is definitely bred to be a stayer. The dam stayed 11 furlongs, but watch how he comes home to the wide outside. Meanwhile, out in front, it's all over. Audience is away and gone, having fired that 11.44 and 11.41, 5th and 6th furlong. Tiring in the last, because his last furlong was 12.59. That tells me that I think he's a sprinter. He saw out the 7 furlongs okay, but only just well enough. Only just well enough. And Yantani, with another furlong to go, might have got to Audience. This is a speedily bred horse who's got tons of pace, and I think might be best at 6 furlongs going forward. But I really like the performance of the second, roaring home towards the outside in the Godolphin blue, and he's definitely a horse for your Racing TV tracker. So what can we say about this race overall? Well, the winner was just too good on the day, just too fast basically. Furlongs 5, 11.44, furlong 6, 11.41, and that completely blew the race apart. Then got tired inside the final furlong with that 12.59, but had done enough in the preceding 2 furlongs to put the race to bed. That 12.59 is worth highlighting. It showed that he was getting tired out in front, and I think it shows that for now 7 furlongs is just as far as he wants to go. And I just say this, he may well be a sprinter. I think he may just be a very good 6 furlong horse. Why do I think that? Well, not just because of what happened here, but because of his pedigree. And what does that tell us? Well, it backs up this sprinter theory, I think. He's by Ifraj, who was a very fast sprinter, out of a dam who stayed no more than 7 furlongs. So I think 7 furlongs is as far as he wants to go. Suffice to say, though, he looked really useful, and he's got tons of speed. Yantani, I like him. I really like what he did. He shaped very well in second. And look, fastest final furlong, Yantani, 11.99. Let's just refer back to what the winner did, 12.59, according to the course track sectional. So over half a second quicker, Yantani, in the final furlong. He was coming home really strongly, and he clearly wants further. And that's what we saw, and what the figures tell us is backed up by his pedigree, because the dam stayed 11 furlongs, and he's definitely a Racing TV tracker horse, Yantani. And Audience, don't forget about him sprinting. He was just too fast for Yantani. They're both really smart. I think we've already highlighted one very useful sprinter for next year in the shape of Raasell, who won at Nottingham on Wednesday. And it's possible that next year he'll be up against Spycatcher, who was very weak in the market for condition stakes at Newmarket on Friday. 3-1, having opened up at 9-4. But nonetheless, he was a very good winner of this race, beating Bahrain Pride and Zoetic into 3rd place. Let's see exactly how this panned out. I think this is form to believe. It was a well-run race, And it was a good performance from Spycatcher, who's bouncing back from a bit of a lull. He looked like a pretty good horse last year. He was placed in the Acomb Stakes at York, and he looked like making up into a very useful performer. But he's lost his way a little bit, but he bounces back here in very good style. It's a fast time for this, you know. 1 minute 12.05 was the final time, which was very good. And the finishing speed percentage of 101.05 says they didn't hang around here. This was quite evenly run, and that when you get an evenly run race, you get normally a good time, and that's exactly what has occurred here, as Spycatcher picks up strongly in the 4th and 5th furlong, firing an 11.35 and an 11.4 to go clear of his field. Indeed, his final 3 furlongs was good as well. 35.65 he recorded on the course track sectionals. So he's come home really strongly. He travelled well up towards the outside, and then he's picked up going into the dip and kept on all the way to the line. It's quite impressive according to the figures. Bahrain Pride in 2nd, Zoetic in 3rd, but they never really threatened him at all in the closing stages. He was just far too good for them, having travelled up really strongly. There he is towards the outside. Now that's not necessarily the place you want to be at Newmarket on the Rowley Mile. Normally you want to be against the rail or close to the rail, and you want to be prominent as well, but he was held up and he came from off the pace, and he showed that really good turn of foot, 11.35 and 11.4, to completely blow his rivals away, and he's very much back to form. It's a time form speed figure of over 100 for Spycatcher. And I think he's a horse to keep an eye on. And next season he'll probably come up against Raasell, and that would be very interesting if they were to meet. So how do we sum this up? Well, he looked pretty useful, I thought, last season and earlier in the year, to be honest. But he's bounced back here in a fast time. He's proved, I think, that he's back together, this horse. Carl Burke's done a good job to get him back, and 1 minute 12.05 was a fast time for him. It was evenly run. There's no doubt about that. That's produced a really good time. They didn't mess about. They went quite hard, and his finishing speed percentage, 101.05, is about bang on, really, you would have thought. It means that he's been given a very sensible and well-judged ride off a strong gallop. Furlongs 4 and 5 were his best. He was really fast through these. He was strong. That's when he cruised up towards the outside and then quickened on, 11.35 and 11.4, and then he was wrangled back and eased down in the closing stages. Value for more than the winning margin, I think. Yeah, his final 3 furlongs were good, weren't they? 35.65. And why was that good? It doesn't look any good when you just throw that number out there, does it? But if you look on the Racing TV website, look at all the sectionals for the race, and you'll see that he was a second quicker than any of his rivals through those final 3 furlongs. So that puts it into context. I think he's got loads of scope. I think he's a really interesting sprinter going forward. A decent high-end sprint handicapper possibly for next season. Carl Burke has now got him going forward, and he's one to keep an eye on. Time now here on The Verdict to have a look at Bay Bridge's success in the James Seymour Stakes, a listed event at Newmarket over the weekend, over 1.25 miles. He was sent off the 6-5 favourite. He was quite weak. Majestic Dawn was a strong second favourite at 9-4, but it was Bay Bridge who prevailed, beating Majestic Dawn and Monty back in 3rd place. Bay Bridge coming from stall number 2, and stall 3 for Majestic Dawn, and Monty came from stall 1, so they were all drawn towards the outside. I think this horse is a potential Group 1 winner going forward. It's trained by Sir Michael Stout. Ryan Moore was on board here. He's a horse who has won races in very fast times in the past, particularly the London Gold Cup that he won at Newbury. That was a sensational time from this fella. And here, he's worked miracles to win this. He's done it tremendously well to get up and beat Majestic Dawn. Just stop it there. The winner's tucked in here by Ryan Moore. There's Majestic Dawn. And Majestic Dawn is a really good horse. He's a really good handicapper. And he's loose on the lead. He's got his own way out in front. He's got the rail. He's able to dictate and do whatever he wants out in front. And he'd be very hard to peg back given the level of his ability. But Bay Bridge is able to run him down late on. Now you might say, well, he did that because Majestic Dawn went too fast. Not a bit of it. The winning time was good, 2 minutes 3.18. The finishing speed percentage, 100.46%. So that's absolutely bang on. So Majestic Dawn's not gone too hard. He's gone evenly out in front. Brian Moore's sat off on Bay Bridge, and then he's able to run this horse down in cold blood close to the line. It is a tremendous performance from Bay Bridge. He comes home in just over 36.78 seconds, his final 3 furlongs. Ryan churning out 12-second furlongs on Bay Bridge. But even at this stage, you think, well, Majestic Dawn, the track bias at Newmarket on the Rolling Mile really favours front runners who can get the rail towards the stand side. He's got everything in his favour. He traded short in running, but Bay Bridge is after him now, and he comes and runs him down with that final 3 furlongs of 36.78. This is a fantastic performance from this horse, who's capable of better, I think. Maybe on slightly better ground, he'd be even better than this. And Sir Michael Stoute has got him progressing very nicely. And I believe that he'll be a Group 1 horse next season. He's not a Group 1 horse at the moment, based just on this performance. But I think he really is a good horse. To do what he's able to do to Majestic Dawn, to get him, to give him 5, 6, 7 lengths, and then go and pick him up, and then go past him. That was a very good performance. Monty was back in third. He couldn't close down on Majestic Dawn, but Bay Bridge could. And I think that marks him out as being a tremendous prospect for next season. Just about the best prospect, I think, that we saw last week by some way. So we had an evenly run race then. Finishing speed percentage was 100.46, and it gave us a good final time. You get an evenly run race, it gives you a good final time. 2 minutes 3.18. That was courtesy of Majestic Dawn, who got it right out in front, but just beaten by a better horse. And in different circumstances, I think Bay Bridge could beat Majestic Dawn comfortably. Winner's very progressive, isn't he? He really is. He's won all 4 of his starts in 2021, and here he's grounded out. Things weren't in his favour, but he's just got the job done on this particular occasion. But he's miles better than this. Majestic Dawn had the run of the race. The track favours what he was trying to do, front runners. So you've got to mark Bay Bridge up big style. Mark him up by £10 at least. Sir Michael Stoute's got him going forward. It's a typical Sir Michael Stoute improver. I think he's up to winning group races next year. I don't know where Sir Michael will want to go with him, but I think the group race route is undoubtedly where he will opt for with Bay Bridge. London Gold Cup winner. Well, he did it in a really fast time, a much better time than he produced here at Newmarket at the weekend. But that outlined his potential, and he has delivered on that since winning at York as well. He's not yet been able to really show what he can do. There's lots more to come. Best prospect we saw this week on the flat, of that I have absolutely no doubt. Bay Bridge, a Group 1 winner in waiting. Let's turn our attentions here on the verdict to jumping and the Ladbrokes Champion Chase, the Grade 1 at Down Royal on Saturday afternoon, over 3 miles. The going was soft. Time suggested it was very soft. 5-4 Minella Indo, the Gold Cup winner. Frodon 3-1. Galvin 3-1. 11-2 Delta Work, and Ravenhill was 125-1. And it was Frodon who heartwarmingly got the job done from the front under Bryony Frost for Paul Nicholls on his seasonal return. Good training performance from Paul to have this horse absolutely spot on to win a Grade 1 on his first run of the season. Let's take it from the start. This is pertinent because basically, here he is. He's got an easy lead, hasn't he? He's been there's Galvin. He's just given him 10 lengths, and there's Minella Indo, who kept him honest for a while, but then Frodon was able to establish another length or 2 on Minella Indo, and thereafter was able to just do his own thing out in front, just bopping along. Now, there is no doubting that he's a tremendous racehorse. This was a fantastic horse race, and well, he's a great advert for the Paul Nicholls yard, and he's been brilliant for Bryony Frost as well. But as he jumps the first, you saw he had 3 or 4 lengths on the others. We've now gone to 4 furlongs out. I'll stop it there. He's still got this distance on Galvin. There's Galvin in the red cap. Now Galvin is going to use up a lot of petrol to try and get to Frodon, and indeed he gets there, but he's had to work oh so hard to get there, Galvin. And in doing so, he just gets to the front, and then he pays for this big effort, and Frodon just keeps going. He just keeps on galloping. He's tough, he's game, he'll fight, he jumps well, he won't give in. But Galvin has done so well to even get this close, having ceded 5, 6, 7 lengths to Frodon in the early stages of this race. There's Manila Endo and Raasell Blackmore. Probably needed the run. Ruby Walsh said as much when he saw this horse in the paddock before the race, and possibly wants a sterner test of stamina and perhaps a bit further as well. Galvin's got there now, and then he's going to empty. And Frodon, well, you don't want to be emptying after the last if you're up against Frodon, who finds loads for pressure. But I would rate Galvin a fair bit better than the Bear result here. I know it was a heartwarming success for everyone who loves National Hunt racing. It was brilliant to see Frodon win, but analysis of the race does suggest that Galvin had to do a lot of running to get involved, and then he emptied a little bit. But full marks to Frodon for winning this race on his first run back. There's the final time, 6 minutes 16.6, which was, well, nothing flash at all whatsoever. And we'll compare that time with others a little bit later on in the programme. It was pretty slow, 31.6 seconds slower than the Racing Post standard. He's got an easy out there, he's got his own way, and if you let him do that, you let this horse do that, he's going to beat you, simple as that. Let's have a look at what we saw out there then at Down Royal. Well, we saw a tremendous success for Frodon. It's heartwarming, wasn't it? Bryony Frost was very good on this fella. They've a tremendous combination, and it was his 18th career win. Wow, what a performance that was. He did it in really gutsy fashion, and he's been brilliantly handled by Paul Nicholls. Overall time, well, look, it's, you know, we have to do this. I mean, some people won't like it, but we have to say it was a slow time. It was in line with the conditions being very testing indeed. I think verging on heavy, really. Slow by 31.6 seconds. Part of that time is courtesy of the good front running ride Frodon got. She kept filling him up and kept steadying the pace. He got his own way out in front. It was a good ride from Bryony Frost. She deserves a lot of credit for what she did tactically here. I think Galvin ran a tremendous race, I really do. Remarkable, I describe it. He made up a lot of ground to briefly get to the front, and then he's paid for that effort late on. He ceded Frodon 5, 6 lengths or so. He made that ground up, and then he got tired, and Frodon, well, you're not going to out-battle him on the run-in if you've done all that running to get to it. What about Manila Endo? Some people will be disappointed with him. Gold Cup winner, of course. I'm not at all. I think he lost nothing in defeat. He probably needed the run. He needs a stronger test of stamina, a stronger run race, perhaps more runners as well, which keeps the pace honest, and perhaps a little bit further as well than 3 miles. But I don't think he lost a thing in defeat whatsoever. Frodon, what a star he is. From Frodon, we go to the return of Envoi Allen, the 4-11 favourite to win the Join Racing TV chase. It was a Grade 2 at Down Royal on Saturday afternoon, and this horse is back. Make no mistake, in my opinion, I think he is back, and he is back with a bang. Let's have a look and see what happens in this contest. We'll just take it from the start and let them jump the first fence, and then we'll take it from 4 furlongs out thereafter. Now, of course, with Henry de Bromhead, he made an inauspicious start to his career with the de Bromhead team, but they've clearly sorted him out, and this race proves that he's back in working order. I think a little bit more than that as well, because I think he was quite impressive, and I suspect that the real Envoi Allen is back, and I think there's going to be more to come from him after this. Now, he was entitled to be 4-11, he was entitled to win this as he did, but they didn't hang around here. I had a look at the times, and this was the quickest time on the card by some way. It was slow by 19.7 seconds, but miles quicker than any of the other races on the card. Now, that has to be tempered because some of those other races are over different distances, over hurdles, and some will be run under a different pace scenario. So you just got to be careful about that. But nonetheless, this was quite a quick time on the day, and he has bowled along in front under Raasell Blackmore. He's jumped pretty adequately throughout, and he has won as he liked. Some would not be particularly impressed with this, but I don't see what else he could have done, to be honest. He's won very easily. He's beaten Echoes of Family in second, Fairy Hill Run back in third. They're not in his league whatsoever. And I think this is all that the Bromhead team and Cheveley Park could have wished for, really. He's back. He's clear of his rivals. He's jumped well. He's produced a good time compared to the rest of the horses that won on the day. And he's run right through the line. He's not on fumes in the closing stages. He possibly would have needed the run as well. And Raasell just nudging him out in the closing stages. So I think this was everything that you would want it to be from Envoi Allen. I was pretty impressed. And I think he's back. I think we will see an even better horse next time up. But I think this proved that he's back. He's firing. And there's going to be a lot more to come from this fella. I really do think Henry the Bromhead has got him sorted out. And what I'd like to do is have a look at the times on the day. I've made reference to these. Now, you've got to be careful when you just analyse final times. Sectionals tell you how times were achieved. So sectionals are much more important than final times. However, look at these, and this will just tell you, these are the winners on the day. It'll tell you what Envoi Allen did. Field Door was slow by just over 40 seconds in the opener. Mighty Potter, slow by 41.7. Esquilane, slow by 26.7. Frodon was slow by 31.6. Envoi Allen, 19.7 slow. Wow. Mine's made up 49.4 slow. American Mike, not too bad actually, 27.4 slow. He's miles quicker in that race, doing his own thing, out in front, on his own, winning easily than anything else. Nothing else was anywhere near as quick as him. We temper that with the fact that other races are run perhaps at a different pace, perhaps in a different style, some over different distances, so you just got to be a little bit careful. But that's just a rough guide as to what Envoi Allen was able to do on his return. And I, for one, was really impressed with him. I think he's back, and it's, for me, one of the best performances we've seen over fences so far this season. That's it for the verdict. I hope you've enjoyed everything that we've been able to bring you today. Two sprinters for the future, Raasell and Spycatcher. Audience is a nice 2-year-old going forward, along with Yantani. Put that horse in your Racing TV tracker. Baybridge, I think a Group 1 horse in the making. And the King's back, yes, Envoi Allen, back in style.